Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we are going to be talking about Outriders. Yes, the latest looter shooter to have dropped. It's developed by People Can Fly and published by Square Enix, and it dropped on the 1st of April. Now, I've been playing it for the last week or so, and I have to say, I quite like it. I think it's quite a good game. But there's a huge caveat to that. In the fact that it's got a lot of bugs and a lot of connection issues. We'll talk about the game and then we'll go into the bugs and connection issues that I've been experiencing. So the game is, on the face of it, very similar to what I've heard was the original brief for Anthem, which is interesting because when I saw it, like gameplay, I was thinking Anthem. I really was. Having played it, it's much better than Anthem. It is a legitimately good game, where you're part of a group of people that are colonizing a world. It goes tits up, you get injured, put in a cryo, and when you come out of cryo, you know, things are fucked up basically, and it's kind of post-apocalyptic. I think it's like 30 years later, and that's where the start of the game really begins. That's where I've started taking the footage from, because the prologue to it is a lot of walking around, cutscenes and talking without a lot of action. It does pick up towards the end, but it's like that's all you would see basically in the footage, is just me walking around talking to people. It looks nice. There's no RTX, but it does have DLSS. I've got it set on here, DLSS, as quality. So it's gaining some of the benefit of DLSS without too much visual impact. As you can see, it's a very nice looking game. It runs rock solid for me at 60 frames per second. I have it capped at 60, just because I'm happy with 60 frames, and my graphics card makes a lot of noise when it gets like 70-80% usage. It sort of ramps up the fans and they're quite loud, so I prefer to keep it set at 60 unless it's really graphically undemanding, which this game, as you can see, is not. But it runs well. So as you come out your cryo sleep, you have to pick like one of 4 classes. I've got a lot of experience in like, damn, I can't remember the name of the class. It's like the tank class, the Guardian, the Demolisher, something like that, where you can like put up shields and like catch enemy bullets and throw them back, much like you could in Titanfall. You can use a ground slam. You can bring sort of earthy, jutty rocks up beneath people, and you gain health back for like people in close range that happen to be killed, which is nice. All of the classes have some mechanic to get health back. I did start in the footage I've captured here as, I believe, a Technomancer or something along those lines, where he's a range guy, because I find a lot of the time I'm killing people from range anyway. It's only when they sort of run at me and get too close that I have to sort of resort to putting them down close and getting that energy back. So I thought Technomancer would be good for my character. And it's good fun. The enemies don't seem to be too bullet spongy. Certainly you can headshot boys with one shot from a powerful sniper rifle or anything like that. You don't have to necessarily... there are a few enemies that can tank it, but you have to necessarily put 4 bullets in the guy's head before he actually decides to die. It also handles difficulty in quite a nice way in world tiers. So as you play, you'll notice you're advancing through world tiers, and what that is it basically gets more difficult, but you get greater rewards. So like loot drops are better. Now you can choose to put it back, so you can stick it on world tier 1, and you know, it becomes fairly straightforward. I wouldn't go so far as say easy, but yeah, fairly straightforward, sort of power fantasy level. But you get less good equipment drops. So what I'm probably going to do is it's me, so I'm playing on World Tier 1, and I'm probably going to complete the story on World Tier 1, and then raise it up so I could go back and redo missions and stuff like that at a higher difficulty, get better gear. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick around for multiplayer. I really don't know. I mean, for the story, it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense, because you're like the chosen one, like in all these stories. So having 4 chosen ones running about the place and not really participating in cutscenes is a bit weird. So I'm not sure it works well for the story, but I can see it working well for the gameplay, especially on harder difficulties when you need the teamwork and sort of the combining of powers, stuff like that. It's super fun. I'm having a blast with it. I mean, you can play it as a cover shooter. I tend to do a mix. I tend to stand out in the open because I can pick guys. I generally take like an assault rifle and a sniper rifle, and is my sort of common loadout. So I can take the guys off in the back, and if anything gets too close to me, I can use my abilities, because the tank character hits like a truck in melee, and they just explode, which is nice. Or my assault rifle to pick them off, and the assault rifle has got a medium range as well, so I can obviously take them out when my sniper rifle runs out of ammo, because you don't get a lot of ammo, but there are perks for that. Which brings me on to the skills. Okay, there are two different types. The first type is active skills that you will sort of acquire as you level up your character for your specific class. Like there's stuff on the tank like Earthquake, ground pounds, that spiky doodad that can come up. I mean, I've found a mix that I kind of like. I like the bullet shield, especially when you get like the big guys with miniguns that take a lot of bullets to put down. So you just like grab all up, you just stand there, soak it up all their bullets, and everybody in front of you just gets a load of them, which makes the whole deal a lot easier. So you have those active abilities, and then you come into a second tree where you'll get points to put in, and then these are more passive abilities, so you'll do like 8% more damage with your guns, like assault rifles or something like that. And then you'll come on to sort of big passive abilities that give you a lot of benefit, like doubling your clip size and stuff like that, which are really handy. And they can also be sort of chained together, so to say. So you could like be getting damage on your assault rifles and stuff like that, and then you'll find a perk in the tree that you can pick that will increase the level of the drop rate of assault rifles, so you've got a better chance of getting a better assault rifle and continuing to use those buffs. I really like the synergy there. I think that's a great idea, because if you put all those points into, like, I mean, it happens so many times when you put all those points into a specific class of weapon, and then you just get one from another class and it's shit hot, and you're like, I can't justify. What do I do? You know, do I use the shit hot weapon because it's great, or do I use the not so great weapon but it's got all these bonuses attached to it? So I think like having the drop rate influenced by the weapon you're sort of specking out, that's a good move. You do have a truck which you use to get around, and you can cosmetically change the truck. I mean, I got like the I didn't actually pre-order. I just straight up bought it, but I still got like the Hell Rangers kit, which gives you sort of it's kind of like a Mad Maxy look to the truck with lots of spikes and rusted metal and chains and stuff like that. But you unlock different parts, like you have different hoods, bumpers, stuff like that you can do. You can also change the look of your Outrider. I managed to make one that looked like Billy from The Expanse, because my primary is always a woman. I mean, if you're going to spend, how long have I spent 23 hours in it so far. So if I'm going to spend 23 hours looking at a bum, it's going to be a female bum. That's just the way I roll. But the guy that I made in the footage I've captured for you guys is indeed male and looks as much like me as I could manage. Unfortunately, there was an option of making him a fat idiot, so we'll have to forbear it. I'm sorry. Right, having gushed, because it is gushable, because it's a great game. It feels great to play. The gunplay's good. The feedback on it is good. Seeing heads explode never gets old. And the abilities are all sort of powerful and useful in different ways. So it's a great game. And I would have rated it, based on all I've just said, an 8 out of 10. That would have been my rating. Unfortunately, we need to talk about some of the less positive stuff. Now, this isn't the case as much anymore. I haven't had it in a couple of days now. But certainly at launch, and for the next few days, we were getting frequent disconnects. You'd just be playing and bang, it would kick you out. You try and log back in, and it would just be failure to authenticate. You couldn't get in it. You just get a pop-up saying and the screen that it took you back to, there's no quit button, so all you can do is try again. So you just have to like Alt F4 out of it, which isn't great. Now, I've only been playing the single player. I haven't played any of the multiplayer yet or any cooperative play. So when you're choosing to make the single player component of your game online as well, you better be damn sure your servers are up to task. I mean, have we learned nothing from the Diablo 3 launch or the SimCity launch? I mean, it's ridiculous that companies aren't better prepared, especially when they create the problem for themselves. I mean, I know it's probably simpler to just have the online thing and just say, well, okay, we've got it all sort of set on our servers, so if they want to play single player, it's already there, we don't need to worry about it. But when it comes to single player, I really can't. I mean, if you're going to do that, you need to make sure the servers are solid, and they weren't very much so. They did provide you a page with the server status on, which had no bearing as to whether or not you were going to get in, because most of the time the server status was up, no problems, and you were just getting kicked out and couldn't get back in. It's quite frustrating. It happened several times to me. It didn't set me back too far in terms of the game, so that was one benefit. But it has been ironed out now. I think I haven't had it in the last couple of days. That's not to say there aren't people out there still having it, but certainly for this first week or so, they've been concentrating on making their servers a lot more stable, which you would expect. Unfortunately, that means a lot of the bugs in the game haven't been addressed at all in the first week. I'm sure they will be, but at the moment there's a lot. So the main one that affects me is every time you log in, or every time I log in, the first time I do it, I don't have a HUD. It's just gone. Now I can either go in the options menu, turn everything off, HUD option wise, and then go back in and turn it all back on, and sometimes it will come back. Or I log back out to the lobby and log back in again for a second time, and the HUD appears. Now I made sure I captured that because that was one that I could definitely repeat on command. I mean, it happens literally every time I play the game. I mean, it's not huge. I mean, once it's there, it's there. It doesn't disappear again, but it does mean I have to log in twice, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. But there are several bigger bugs in the game. The one I've noticed most is each sort of section of the world is connected. So you're going through the jungle, and then it's like go to X mission area, and there's like a door or a gap between rocks, and you hold down E and you go through it. And I was having those trigger objects not triggering, so basically I'd follow the mission marker, run towards the entrance. It wasn't glowing as active, there was no key prompt, I couldn't go through there. I had to log out, log back in to actually get into the mission area, and that's happened quite a lot to me. Another thing that's happened to me as well is some of the NPCs have gone missing, just disappeared. So I noticed it when I was going back to turn in a mission, and I travelled back to the camp because that's where that person is. Wasn't there. You know, I'm like, well, where the hell are they? So I highlighted the mission on my mission maps, set off the mission tracker, and the mission tracker, well, it was confused as I was, because it took me all around the bloody houses and didn't find it. So what I ended up doing was just going over to the place where they were previously, and I got a prompt. It's like, hold down E to talk to this person. So I did. I was expecting thin air, but I turned in the mission. Yeah, the NPC was just gone. Couldn't. If I hadn't paid attention to where he was, I wouldn't have been able to turn that mission in. Not without restarting it again. I've had one genuine crash, so I can't say whether that's an indicative thing. I sent feedback. It was an Unreal Engine crash. So I don't think one crash is indicative of a problem there, but there's certainly enough in-game that's a bit I don't think it does a very good job of giving you a lot of information. Like, I don't think I even got a tutorial for like the mission tracker. I think it might be though, because my HUD was missing. I can't remember. Because I remember thinking, it's weird I'm not getting a reticle. What's going on? when you start it, there is a camera shake option. Turn that right down. Trust me on this, because the cutscene footage is sort of shot like it's another person there, so it like walks and wobbles from side to side and moves around. If you don't turn the shake option down, it's like watching the start of Saving Private Ryan. It's just unpleasant. I try to watch these people talk and the camera's fucking all over the shop, so turn that option down. It defaults to like pretty high, so definitely turn that option down if you can. I mean, you might like it, I mean, but it looks like it was filmed by a 12-year-old film buff that doesn't know anything. It's just like, energy! You're just like, nope, turning that down. That was like, my immediate impression was like, oh god, I hope this isn't like this all the time. Unfortunately, there's a slider for it, so thank you for that, guys. So, that's most of the bugs that I've seen. I haven't had... I mean, they're more inconveniences than anything else, but, you know, they happen so often that they've got to be aware of them, and I imagine the whole server issue is basically taking up all their time. You know, rightly so. I can't criticise them for having to fix that first, but, you know, not having to fix it at all might have been a better idea. And for those people white knighting on forums and going, oh, well, it's day one, of course it doesn't work, be patient, what are you whining about, you whiner? I'm like, well, I kind of just paid 50 quid for this. I kind of want to play it. You know, if I didn't want to play it right now, I probably wouldn't have bought it. So, yeah. And I want to play the single player. If they need time to work on the multiplayer, I'm kind of like more forgiving, because although I will say it's one of the few games that I'm kind of like, maybe I'll do a bit of multiplayer on it. I don't know. But for the single player aspect to just be so broken was just kind of like, they've made the choice to make it that way, which is fine, but they've also made the problem. So I can't really... I think if they've made the rod for their own back, then it's their fault. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, it's day one, of course there's going to be problems. Since when did that become something we so readily accept, for Christ's sakes? Whether it's online or not, day one, you pay for a game, you should be getting the game. It's that simple. But oh well, you know, we have internet now, so we can just fix it later. As opposed to like actual games that used to come out on like your Amiga and stuff like that, or the Mega Drive, where if the game didn't work, you took that shit back and got your money back for it. You didn't just was like, oh, wait a couple of days, it'd be patched. I think the ability to patch has made a lot of developers lazy, because they can just fix that shit once it's out the door. Not a problem. And we're so inured, we expect it now, so... Oh well, off my soapbox. So, those are the bugs I found. As I said, I think it's a great game, and I think once they iron out the bugs and any remaining connection issues, I think it'll go from strength to strength. It's really enjoyable. I know people are calling it like Anthem 2.0. It's nowhere near as bad as Anthem. It's interesting, as I say, because the storyline is fairly similar to what I heard the original Anthem was going to be, i.e. better than what they came out with. But yeah, I like it. I would advise that people get it. Maybe not right now. Maybe give it like a month, maybe two. Just let them get the sort of annoying shit under control that is going to sort of help ruin your experience. But I'm having fun with it. I mean, if I have to relog every time I log in, then yeah, I'm stupid enough to do that. But I'm not gonna overlook it either. I think, as I said, if they fix the bugs and all the connection issues, then it's an 8 out of 10 game. As it stands with all the bugs, I'm going to take it down to 7. If they hadn't fixed the connection issues, probably 5. But that seems to have been sorted out now. At least for me. I mean, your mileage may vary as everything on PC. I mean, apparently the console launches were a lot more stable in terms of servers than the PC one was. And how about that? Us PC lads getting the short end of the stick again. Oh well, there's just our lot in lives, isn't it? I remember our fantastic Iron Man port. which was ported from like the PS2 version of the game rather than the PS3. Cheers, lads. Thanks for that. Anyway, guys, let me know down below if you're playing Outriders. I really like it. I think it's a great game, as I say. Maybe give it a little while for the patches to come out and the bugs to be ironed, and then jump in, because it's a hell of a fun game and I'm having a blast with it. Really am. And it's not usually the type of game that I'm like massively keen on. But yeah, should keep me busy till Mass Effect Legendary Edition drops next month. So, hooray! Anyway, guys, take it easy.